$14,000 a year. That's what a 20-hour work week, part-time job at here in Arizona pays after taxes. 14,000. So half your time, half your life for a hard ceiling. But what if you could earn that same income without trading hours for dollars? And that's what dividend income makes possible. Yes, it takes time, but sometimes people are watching too many of the retire early off of dividends videos, and if they're making some money in with dividend income, they're looking at it like they're not achieving it enough. But look at your dividend income as you having maybe as if you were working a part-time job, or let's say you were a single person, but you have dividend income coming in as well as your full-time job. You could look at it as, you're you have someone else in the house that's contributing to the household, but it's your dividends that's the person that's in your house. But before we get started on some numbers that I generated, um, some part-time income numbers, let me give you a quick update on my portfolio. I'm sitting at $149,311.75. Let's go to year to date. Market gain $3,641.46, which is very good. That's already way more than what I achieved all of 2025. So if that tells you something, I was definitely doing a lot of yield chasing last year. Total gain $4,170.58 with $529.12 in dividends earned so far. Weirdly enough, it doesn't really show my dividends accurately. I'm not sure what M1 does, because here, so as you see here, there's a paid, pending, and estimated. So if you look here, it's saying I've been paid $1,029.42. Pending is $149 and estimated $833 for an estimated total for the month $2,012.61. Maybe they're not counting distributions as dividends on the main screen, which there's distributions, there's dividends, like with the weekly pay in ETFs and whatnot. I do have 3 or 4 of those in my portfolio, but total income is estimated to be $15,625.96. Pretty sure that's going to change as I contribute and as things increase. Average monthly income $1,302.16. Again, that's probably going to change. This was 2025. Started out small, or a little over $1,000, and then I started hitting. I started reallocating my portfolio into different funds. I was mostly into stocks back here, and then I started converting a lot of my investment money into ETFs. So basically what I want to do is kind of give you an idea of what part-time income look like. I live in Arizona, so I just took Arizona's minimum wage, which is $15.15 per hour. Taxes are relatively low, but even after taxes, total income is capped by the hours you work, right? So I want to break it down by 10 hours a week, 15 hours a week, 20 hours a week, and 25 hours a week. And then we'll break it down from there by gross and net by the month. So the first one is at 10 hours a week. You have a gross annual income of $7,878. That's for the year if you work 10 hours a week. Your monthly income is looking at $656 a month. Now, your net annual minus FICA and state taxes, because in Arizona we have a state tax, you're looking at $7,090. Net monthly income, divide that by 12, and you get about $591 a month. So 10 hours per week earns about $656 gross per month, and roughly $591 after taxes. You can easily build a dividend portfolio that can get you $591 a month. What about 15 hours a week? You're looking at a gross annual income of $11,817. You're looking at about $984 a month. Net annual, $10,635. So that's after tax, again, after FICA, state tax. And then your net monthly you're looking at $886 a month. So again, $886 a month, and that's working 15 hours a week. So do you really need to work 15 hours a week? Or can you build a dividend portfolio that gets you $886 a month? Okay, let's look at 20 hours a week. Maybe you need some more hours if you were going to work a part-time job. Maybe you need more hours. So how about 20 hours? You're looking at gross annual $15,756. That's $1,313 a month. That's gross. Now, after taxes, you're looking at $14,180 and $1,182 a month net. Monthly gross, $1,313. Take home pay, $1,182 roughly per month. Now, these are all estimates, again, because you have to factor in different variables, deductions, and all sorts of things. So keep that in mind as well. And lastly, let's look at 25 hours a week. Now, that's 5 hours. Like if you work a 5-day week, part-time, that's 5 hours per day for the week to get that 25 hours. Something's telling me that you can build a dividend portfolio that can pay you what you can make in a 24 hours a week. You gain those hours back, right? So gross annual, $19,695. Gross monthly, $1,641 a month. After taxes, you're looking at $17,726, and net monthly, you're looking at $1,477 a month. Now, another thing you need to keep in mind is the taxes are a lot different between W-2 wages and investment income. And then there's even different forms of investment income. So it gets a little more complicated when you're talking about portfolios because everyone's portfolio is different. There's ordinary income. There's all kinds of ways that, like a CEF is taxed differently than an ETF. And depending on how long you held the investment, there's also another way that your taxes can be different. But the thing is, employees get taxed the worst, one. And two, you're also trading your time for all this money too. So if you can build an income that you don't have to work for, who cares what the taxes are, to be honest? I mean, that's my point of view. I'm not going to not invest because I'm too worried about what taxes are going to be. So key takeaways: part-time, minimum wage keeps you under $1,500 per month take home, even at 25 hours a week. Now, anything beyond that, anything beyond that is I'm assuming that a person doesn't want to work no more than 24 hours a week as a side job. So, I'm sure there's people that's working more than that, but man, there's not a lot of time in the days, right? Taxes aren't the problem. Again, it's the hour ceiling. You're kind of capped, right? Unless you go get mind you, this is minimum wage. I'm not saying you're going to get a raise and things like that. I'm just assuming that it's at the minimum wage rate. More hours do not equal financial freedom. So you have to keep that in mind as well. Do you want freedom, or do you want to just not even have enough time to enjoy life? Now, again, to me, there's an alternative. Instead of trading hours for dollars, you can build assets that pay the same $1,182 a month without showing up to work. $1,182 per month in dividends is the same as a 20-hour work week part-time, but earned passively from capital. And the goal isn't quitting your job overnight. It's systematically replacing hourly income with cash flow and assets, because hours stop paying when you stop showing up, but your assets don't, right? So that's why I love dividend investing. There's other forms of passive income. Real estate is by some considered passive, but it's really not. It's really not passive, especially if you're managing the property yourself. It's really not it's really not passive, especially if you're managing the property yourself. It's really not passive. You got so much to do, and then you got to worry about if a tenant pays or not. Because I've been kind of going through that myself right now, where a tenant just bounced on my property, and then I had another tenant before that just disappeared. Before that, I had a real good tenant. Problem is, when things broke down in the house, they didn't tell me. So when they eventually left, they left a mess of a home. So I had to do a lot of repair work just to get it back onto the market. So real estate comes with its challenges. There's a lot of good things with real estate, but there's a lot of bad. But dividends is the most passive thing. Nothing. It doesn't matter what's going on in your life. When it's time to pay that dividend, it pays. In my experience, and I don't think I've ever heard anybody say this, I've never heard of somebody saying I'm missing my dividend payment. Like, no matter what, if that company comes out and they say the pay date is on the 15th, it's on the 15th. The only time that it's not is if it's on a Sunday or something. But that Monday or that Friday, you're going to get paid. So keep that in mind. You can earn part-time income, part-time job dividend income. Let's start there and then work your way up to full-time dividend income. That's where I'm going. And I hope you're along with the journey with me. And if you got any questions, feel free to write a comment. And until next time, peace.